Hey, I'm Philippa, and you're listening to Unapologetic Edge, perimenopause, motherhood, and burnout. If you listened to the first episode, you know what we're talking about. Menopause as a becoming. Like matrescence and adolescence, it's a life transition with real power. It can break you open or create something beautiful. But becomings are disorienting. Your nervous system is reorganizing, your capacity is shifting, your body is telling truths that your willpower can't override. And in that disorientation, one of the things that gets confusing is this. What's an emotion that's actually trying to tell me something important right now? What's an emotion that is actually trying to tell me something important about right now? And what's an old pattern being reactivated in a system that is already under pressure? I want to start with something I hear all the time from women I work with. They say things like, I got triggered at work today, or I was triggered by something they said, or even, I'm triggered by how much I have on my plate. And honestly, when everything is a trigger, nothing actually gets understood. That word, triggered, it's become a catch-all, hasn't it? Angry, triggered. Grieving something, triggered. Protecting a boundary, that's definitely triggered. Even excitement sometimes gets the label if it feels big enough. But here's what I've noticed after years of working with high-performing professionals who are caught in repeating nervous system patterns. Confusing what a trigger actually is from what an activated emotion actually is, that confusion is keeping you stuck. And if you're in perimenopause right now, navigating motherhood at the same time, this precision matters even more. Because in perimenopause, the line between I'm fine and I'm not fine gets thinner. Your nervous system is more reactive. Your capacity isn't what it was. The strategies that once worked are starting to feel shaky. And when you're parenting and leading simultaneously, you don't have the luxury of falling apart privately. You need to understand what's happening in real time so you can show up the way you want to, not the way your dysregulated nervous system is running the show. So today we're going to get precise. We're going to distinguish between what's a normal emotional response to the actual pressure you're carrying right now and what's an old pattern being reactivated in a nervous system that's already stretched thin. That distinction changes everything about how you navigate this becoming. So you stuck in self-monitoring instead of self-trust? Stuck in trying to fix the wrong thing? Stuck exhausted? Today we're drawing a clear line between two things that look similar but are neurologically completely different. And understanding the difference, genuinely understanding it, changes how you relate to yourself in this transition. More importantly, it changes what actually needs to happen for you to complete this becoming with clarity and power. This is for anyone who's done the insight work, read the books, maybe even done therapy, and still finds themselves in the same repeating patterns. Because insight alone doesn't resolve triggers, and confusing the two keeps you playing whack-a-mole with your own nervous system. So let's slow down and actually understand what's happening. Right, part one, what emotions actually are. And I know this might seem basic, but it's really important. We don't get taught this. Your nervous system operates within something neuroscientists call a window of tolerance. Think of it like a lit room. Inside that room, you can see clearly. You can see what's happening around you. You can see the emotion arriving and you notice it. You can choose how to move, you're aware, you can think and feel at the same time. Within this window of tolerance, your thinking brain, the prefrontal cortex, is communicating with your emotional brain, your limbic system. They're talking to each other. Information flows in both directions in real time. And that's where emotional adulthood lives. An emotion, when you're in that window, is a signal. It's information. It arrives in the present moment and it moves information through your body. Anger might show you that a boundary has been crossed. Someone disrespects you, overstepped, or didn't listen. The anger is telling you something matters. Grief might show you what was precious, what mattered, who mattered. Grief is actually love with nowhere to go. Fear might show you what feels uncertain or what feels precious. Both uncertainty and preciousness trigger fear in the nervous system. Sadness might show you where you need support or where you need rest, or where you've been going without something you actually need. And even joy. Joy might show you what aligns with who you are, what lights you up. None of these emotions are problems. Some are uncomfortable. Some are inconvenient in professional spaces. Some don't fit neatly into what you think a regulated person should feel. That does not make them pathological. When you're in your window of tolerance, there's charge. Yes, there's feeling. But that charge is proportional to what's actually happening. You can feel it fully and still think about what's happening. You can be angry and still choose your words. You can be sad and still show up. You can be afraid and still move forward. That's not suppression. That's not being numb or unbothered. That's emotional intelligence in real time. This is what emotional adulthood actually looks like. Part 2. What triggers actually are. Again, really important. A trigger is fundamentally different. A trigger is not about what's happening now. It's about what your nervous system learned a long time ago and never got to complete. Triggers come from unprocessed experiences, moments where there was too much, too fast, too alone, or too overwhelmed for your system to integrate at the time. Your nervous system couldn't process it, so it filed it away in a protective state as unfinished business. Here's the neuroscience. When something in the present moment resembles that unfinished experience, a tone of voice, a facial expression, a timing, even a smell, your amygdala recognizes the pattern and reactivates the original survival response. Your thinking brain goes offline. Your nervous system reacts as if the past is happening right now. Time collapses. And this is crucial. This isn't a character flaw. This is survival neurology. Your nervous system is doing exactly what it was designed to do when it perceives a threat. The problem is that the threat isn't actually in the present moment, even though your body responds as if it is. When a trigger activates, you might notice a few things. Intensity that feels completely outsized to what's actually happening. Someone makes a comment and you feel like the walls are closing in. A scheduling conflict and you feel like everything is falling apart. The reaction doesn't match the moment. Defensiveness, shutdown, or rage that arrives before your thinking brain engages. Your body moves before your mind catches up. You say something and then immediately think, where did that come from? A sudden loss of perspective. You can't see clearly anymore. Things feel catastrophic or hopeless when they're not. Your nervous system hijacks you, and then afterwards, you experience shame, deep shame about how you reacted, followed by fierce self-control attempts. I'm never doing that again. I'll manage it better next time. I just need to be more disciplined. But here's the thing. This isn't immaturity. It's not weakness. It's unresolved survival. And this is where it gets really important. Understanding a trigger does not resolve it. Your prefrontal cortex, the part of your brain that learns in therapy, reads self-help books, has insights, it's literally offline when a trigger activates. It's not there. It's gone. So you can have complete intellectual clarity about why you react a certain way. You can understand the root cause. You can see the pattern clearly, and I mean clearly, and you'll still have your nervous system override that understanding in the moment. Women tell me this all the time. I know logically that this shouldn't be upsetting me. I've done years of work on understanding this. I understand where it comes from, and I still react the same way. That's not failure. That's neurology. Your prefrontal cortex can't access the learning when it's offline. That's not a character flaw. That's how the nervous system works when it's protecting you. Thinking your way out of a trigger is like trying to talk yourself out of the flu. Your thinking brain is not in the room. Part 3, why confusing the two costs you everything. So here's what's happening when you label every emotional response a trigger. You start policing your feelings before they've even finished arriving. That anger? Suspicious. Better control it. That boundary energy? Better watch that. That grief? Better manage it. You distrust your instincts. You assume activation means something is wrong with you. And you try to suppress emotion instead of listening to what it's telling you. The paradox, and this is the real trap, this hypervigilance actually keeps your nervous system dysregulated. Here's why. Your nervous system reads your self-monitoring as threat. If I'm policing my own reactions this much, if I'm this worried about how I feel, then the environment must be unsafe. So it stays in protective mode, stays activated. You end up exhausted, not from the emotions themselves, but from the surveillance of. And meanwhile, actual unresolved trauma, the repeating patterns, the shame cycles, the reactions that genuinely don't match the moment, they get lost in the noise. You're trying to fix the wrong thing. You're treating healthy emotional activation like it's broken, while actual nervous system dysregulation is running in the background. No wonder you're tired. Part 4, what healing actually looks like. Real healing is not the absence of memory. It's the absence of charge. You know that past event is genuinely integrated when you can think about it or even encounter the person involved without your body bracing. When the story exists as narrative, but it no longer runs you. Your prefrontal cortex stays online when you're reflecting on it. Your nervous system stays in your window of tolerance. You have choice. You might still feel things when you think back. You might feel sadness about what happened, anger about the injustice, clarity about what you needed and didn't get, even compassion for yourself. But here's the difference. That feeling is information. It's not the trigger returning. There's no grip, no collapse, no automatic survival response. The emotion moves through and settles, like a normal present moment emotion does. That's the difference between memory and trigger. Memory is the story, the feeling, the lesson, but no grip. Trigger is the grip, the collapse, the automatic reaction that feels bigger than the moment. And for high performers especially, this matters because you've tried everything else. You've done the insight work, you've tried control, you've tried regulation techniques, you've breathed your way through things, you've reframed, you've journaled, and you've gotten somewhere with all of that. You understand yourself better, you have more language, you're more aware. But you're still caught in the pattern. That's the signal that your nervous system needs something different. Not more insight, not more control, completion. Part 5. Understanding isn't the same as resolution. Here's what this episode has given you. A framework, language, clarity about what's actually happening in your nervous system as you move through this becoming. It's given you permission to stop pathologizing normal emotional life, to stop treating every activated emotion like evidence that something is broken in your transition. But, and this is important, this episode hasn't resolved the trigger. Understanding the problem is not the same as resolving it. If you're still stuck in those repeating patterns, the ones that don't shift despite your insight, despite your effort, despite your understanding, your nervous system is telling you something. It's saying, I need to complete something. I need to finish something I couldn't finish at the time. And I can't do this alone. That's what triggers actually are. Unfinished business from the past that's blocking your path forward into the woman you're becoming. And thinking about it won't finish it. This is where the Richards trauma process, TRTP, comes in. TRTP works directly with your nervous system, not your thoughts, not breathing techniques you'll do forever, your nervous system's actual unfinished business. In typically 3 to 4 sessions, something shifts. Your nervous system completes what it couldn't finish at the time. The trigger doesn't get smaller or more manageable, it resolves. The charge disappears. Your thinking brain stays online and you get your choice back. And more than that, you get to move forward into your becoming, unburdened. You get to step into who you're becoming with clarity and power. And I don't say that lightly. I've worked with hundreds of high-performing women who've tried everything: therapy, coaching, meditation, all of it. And they come to TRTP as a last resort, honestly thinking, well, I've tried everything else. And then, surprisingly quickly, the pattern breaks. Not because they finally understand it. They already understood it. But because their nervous system gets to complete what it's been trying to finish. Because they get support for their actual becoming. If that resonates, if you're reading yourself in this, the repeating pattern, the insight that hasn't shifted anything, the exhaustion of trying to manage something that shouldn't need managing, that's what TRTP is built for. Come and have a conversation about it. See if it's the right support for your becoming. In closing, your nervous system isn't broken. It's reorganizing. It's meeting this becoming. And right now, in perimenopause, with everything you're holding, the leadership, the motherhood, the capacity that's shifting, the pressure that's asking something new of you. And right now in perimenopause, with everything you're holding, the leadership, the motherhood, the capacity that's shifting, the pressure that's asking something new of you, the nervous system, your nervous system is being asked to do something it can't do alone. It can't distinguish between past threat and present pressure. But you can. With the right support, you can. You're not that alone anymore. You're not overwhelmed anymore. Well, you might be overwhelmed right now, but it's not because something is broken. It's because you're in a becoming and your nervous system needs completion, not control. Emotional activation is intelligence. It's your nervous system trying to tell you something in the present moment as you move through this transition. Triggers are an invitation. They're pointing to the place where your nervous system is still waiting for permission to finish, so you can move forward into what you're becoming with power and clarity. I'm Philippa, and you've been listening to Unapologetic Edge, perimenopause, motherhood, and burnout. If this episode landed for you, if you recognize yourself in the repeating patterns, the ones that don't shift despite your insight, come explore TRTP. That's exactly what it's built for. Not to manage your transition, to support your becoming, to help your nervous system complete what it's been trying to finish so you can step into the woman you're becoming. Your becoming is worth supporting. Thanks for listening.